Hey YouTube, so I have prepared something for today's video. I wanted to talk a little bit about my oversleeping and sometimes insomnia problems. So sometimes I think it's because of the medications that I'm on. It's hard to go to bed at certain times. And then other medications, you're really tired and you're going to bed early and sleeping for long periods of time. So you have to find like the right mix and the right dose, I guess, for you. But for some reason, I find that I build up a tolerance to whatever it is I'm taking very quickly. And I end up having to increase the dose, and the more that the dose is increased, the more that the oversleeping kind of emerges. So presently, because I'm just taking like the clonazepam, for when I go to sleep, I'm like not going to bed sometimes until like 2, 3, 4 in the morning, because my husband usually goes to bed around midnight, and I always feel like I kind of need like just a little bit of time to myself, like, I don't know, maybe it's selfish, but I just feel like I kind of need my own downtime from everything else in the day. So sometimes I'll sleep for like 10 plus hours a night, and I'll wake up and I'll still feel tired in the morning or groggy, and I think that's partially from the clonazepam, because it has a pretty long duration that it stays in your system for. So a lot of people report still feeling the effects in the morning when they wake up. As a kid, though, I always remember having trouble sleeping, and I was never on like any medications when I was really young for anything. The first time I ever took medication for anything related to my mental health issues was for depression, and it started with a C, but I was so young I can barely remember what it was called, but it didn't do like anything for me. So I've always had those racing thoughts when I go to sleep, and that's why I need like something to knock me out kind of at night, I guess, so that when I lay down I don't start having those thoughts. Because if I don't take my medication and I try to go to sleep, or say there's a day that like I just messed up and I just couldn't pick up my medication, so I was like, oh, I'll just skip a day and I'll be fine. Those are the nights that like it takes me hours and hours and hours of tossing and turning and being in my head to finally fall asleep, if I get to sleep at all. And if I do, it's usually like in the wee hours of the morning, and then I'll sleep until like 11 o'clock in the afternoon or in the morning. So it's not like efficient for me to not have something to help me sleep at night, because I know I can't do it efficiently on my own at this point. I remember in my teen years I would like go to bed at like 9 o'clock. I think I was going through a lot of the depression state then, so that like really wears on you. And I would literally go to bed at 9 o'clock, not only just from like the mental exhaustion of the day, but because I knew that it was going to take me hours to fall asleep. So I would like give myself extra time deliberately, knowing that I would be tossing and turning for a few hours so that I could actually get a decent amount of sleep, because during that time I was trying to go back to school, so I needed to be, you know, somewhat rested and focused in the morning. And during those times, sometimes I would wake up like in the middle of the night and I would be so hungry for some reason, and I would end up like cooking a full meal while everybody else in the house was like passed out, and sit there, eat my meal, and then like go right back to bed and fall asleep. Sometimes I think this is also connected to the medications, but sometimes I have like really terrifying nightmares that most of the time I don't remember when I wake up. So when I wake up, I just wake up feeling like very anxious and agitated, and it's like it's a really weird feeling to describe because you wake up and you are already like feeling weird, and you don't know like what fueled it, and that like I guess kind of agitates you even more, like the fact that you can't remember what's like eating away at you at night. Sometimes I think if I could remember what I'm dreaming about, then maybe I could like confront some of those demons during the day, and maybe I wouldn't have so much to think about at the end of the day, and I wouldn't have so many bracing thoughts to fight against. I spent so much time in my bed when I was in my depressive state when I was in my teen years that like now I think I have associated like bed with being sad and depressed, and like basically I look at my bed as like a hole, and I don't want to fall into that hole, so I go to bed there, I wake up there, and I try not to go near it when I'm like having a bad day or manic or anything like that, because the moment that I get into bed and pull the covers over me and lay my head on the pillow and just like start staring off at the wall, that's the moment that I just like start sinking deeper into the hole. And the deeper you sink, the harder it is to pull yourself out, for anyone to pull you out, really. And so I just try to avoid that hole. So when I'm upset or I feel like I need to be alone now, I like try to avoid the bedroom. Like I will sit in the bathroom, or I will sit in the office, or I'll go outside, or I'll sit in the car, or I'll go for a walk. I will do absolutely everything I can to make sure that I don't end up in the hole. I had to start relying on medication to sleep probably around the time shortly after my mom's stroke. I was really stressed out. I was very emotional. I was in a very bad place in my life. All these bipolar symptoms were emerging, and all my life up until that point, all I'd had is depressive symptoms. So I was really confused about my own emotional and mental state, on top of having to go and visit my mom hours away every day and see her like suffering. And it was just like, I got to the point where I think I had so much going on during the day that it wouldn't leave me alone at night. So I started having to use medication to sleep, just so I could have a little peace of mind. When I was pregnant, I barely got any sleep. If you've watched my other videos, I told you that the medication that I was on at the time, Seroquel, was not tested on pregnant women, and I wasn't willing to be the test subject in that scenario, so I basically stopped taking all medications except for, like my prenatal vitamins and stuff that the doctor prescribed me for pregnancy related stuff. But other than that, I didn't take anything for my bipolar or anything like that. So sleeping was difficult at first to get used to, having the medication, to make you fall asleep right away, and then all of a sudden you not being able to fall asleep right away, and you having all these other things to deal with, like, getting up every 3 to 4 hours to pee, and acid reflux every time you lay down, and I'd have, like, the baby kicking me in the middle of the night, and that would, like, wake me up out of a dead sleep. Plus, at the time, I was working this job where I was working 12-hour days, like literally 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So I would be like completely exhausted. And I had dogs jumping on me all day. So eventually it just got to the point with that job where I was like so pregnant that I was like, this is getting dangerous, and I decided to go on maternity leave early. But I still have sleeping issues today. I will still like sometimes wake up in the middle of the night, even with the clonazepam. Like I remember an incident a few weeks ago that I woke up in the middle of the night and I was just really confused and irate for some reason. Like, I don't know, I just had like this feeling like something had happened or something. I don't know. It was just really weird. And I got up and I went to the washroom and I came back. What's the matter, honey? And I came back into bed. And I just I remember laying there and I'd woke up my husband, I guess, from all the rustling I was doing. And I asked him if something had happened or something along those lines. And he just seemed really confused as to what was going on. So I think what happened was Eleanor, please don't touch the tripod. I think what would happen was I was having one of those moments where I was dreaming about something really messed up happening, and for some reason I woke up in that state and I just panicked, having the feeling like it was real, like it was like the reality at that moment. So it really was hard to kind of move over for like a day or two. Like I kept feeling like I was like forgetting something or missing something or not remembering something that I should remember, and it was driving me insane. And I still don't know exactly what it was, but I haven't thought about it since now, and obviously I've moved on from it, but it really freaked me out, and I hope it doesn't happen again, because if it turns out to be a side effect of the medication that I'm taking now, then I'm definitely going to try something else, because I don't like waking up feeling panicked in the middle of the night and freaked out. So I guess that's a pretty decent background of sleep issues. Until next time, everyone stay strong and remember you're not alone.